Like many of you, I have been watching the news concerning the UnitedHealthCare shooter with great interest. However, I have noticed that the mainstream media and independent analysts are, as they usually do, they are missing the historical context here. What did we witness on December 4th when Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthCare, was assassinated? With bullets on which the casings of which were inscribed, deny, defend, depose. What we witnessed, and the shooter might not even be familiar with this term, but what we witnessed was an act of propagande par la faille, which is a French term used by anarchists from the mid 19th century to the early 20th century, which means propaganda of the deed. I'll simply read the Wikipedia definition for you, and so I don't have to linger. Propaganda of the deed, or propaganda by the deed, from the French propagande par la faille, is specific political direct action meant to be exemplary to others and serve as a catalyst for revolution. It is primarily associated with acts of violence perpetrated by proponents of insurrectionary anarchism in the late 19th and early 20th century, including bombings and assassinations aimed at the state, the ruling class in a spirit of anti-capitalism, and church arsons targeting religious groups, even though propaganda of the deed also had non-violent applications. These acts of terrorism were intended to ignite a spirit of revolt. By demonstrating the state, the middle and upper classes, and religious organizations were not omnipotent, as well as to provoke the state to become escalatingly repressive in its response. The 1881 London Social Revolutionary Congress gave the tactic its approval. So, this is what we just witnessed. The shooter, again, is probably not familiar with this term. It's a very archaic term, but it is one that is going to be brought back into the cultural zeitgeist, because it seems to be necessary at this point. And why do I say that? Well, now I'm getting into a little bit of theory here. So, propaganda of the deed, as it was in its 19th and 20th century forms, was less effective because you couldn't really gauge society's reaction to it. However, in the age of social media, there is no hiding what the people and how the people feel about these acts. So, for example, in reaction to the 1919 Wall Street bombing, the people might have been horrified. They might have been somewhat sympathetic to the motives of the bomber, even though they were never explicitly stated. However, it would be hard to determine that without social media. But we are in the age of social media. And so the reaction to a propaganda of the deed, the reaction to propaganda par la faille, can be actively gauged not just by the element or individual who committed the act, but by the population, the public itself. And so this could really snowball, because this guy turned into a folk hero, guy or girl, probably a guy, but hey, let's keep the options open. So yeah, that's what's going on here. And I think we're going to see more of it, because we have entered a gilded age, and we have entered a time of revolution. I know people are going to say that's ridiculous, but we have, objectively speaking. How do I know that we have entered a time of revolution? Well, first off, revolution is never formally declared. Only rebellions are. Revolutions are never formally declared. They only become obvious. And this, the reaction to this incident is what is the obvious factor here. I am of the opinion, and I think it's almost a metaphysical fact, that in times of revolution, in a time when the spirit of revolution has taken hold. An enemy of the state is a friend of the people. And people might say, well, this Brian Thompson was not a member of the state. He was a CEO of a private company. The American system, the power poles have merged. It's the corporate, military, and political power have all merged. Okay, so it's pretty obvious to everyone in America that these major corporations, they're not just part of the state; they're effectively in control of it. So I'll keep, if I don't stop myself, I'll keep on going on here. But I'm going to put the links there at the bottom of this page. But yeah, check it out. Propagandify, and just check it out. Check out what happened back during the Harry Frick was almost assassinated. But anyway, that's all old history, but it's relevant. It's very relevant. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But this is big news. It's big news. And it is going to have a major effect on our politics in this country. And when I say the politics in this country, I don't mean the yammering in Congress. I mean street politics. This is big news. Hope for the best.